Holla, holla, holla. My lovers, how are you? I got really sidetracked just then. So I have this thing where I just sit in a certain position, basically with my legs underneath my bum, like crumped in a ball. I do it in front of you guys as well. Like I'll sit like this, and I'll get like really into my like blah blah whatever I'm doing, and then when I go to move again, my legs and feet are just completely asleep. So I'm like I have to try to like maneuver, and just but I can't move them. How are you guys? How goeth? Um, so yeah, thank you guys so much. A couple of you responded, actually more than a couple, but you know, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Basically, your guys' input is like so super duper valuable. I think you know this, but like it always warrants expressing it because yeah, I know how we go. It can life takes over and flow happens and sometimes we can wobble into different areas of feels that make us maybe feel not as appreciated or and here we are just doing the work of this life and how did you guys manage through this week? Holla, 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 Lorna. The energies, so the full is it full moon, yeah, just a few days ago, the full moon lunar eclipse um personally energetically kind of wiped me out. I felt like super tired all week, and then like even this weekend yesterday I took a nap at like 2 or 3, slept until 8, woke up, had a bite to eat, and then went back to bed at like 9 and then up this morning. So and isn't it funny? I'm just acknowledging that usually with these lunations or quite big astrological events, there's no yeah, sort of huge thing. It's just energy. So it's either we're on an ebb or a flow kind of thing. And that's typically for me how it will work. I either feel really heightened, energized, like on another level, and then and it's so often I feel like in my mind at one point I would have thought that would have been the full moon energy, like feeling like which does happen. We know this, like there are lunations or cosmological events that do create a sense of restlessness, thus not being able to sleep so well. But this was the opposite. This was like not being able to keep my eyes open and sort of that wretched empathic thing of like making plans with people and then having to bail or just like falling asleep and completely missing out, and I wasn't even. Ah, okay, we're not alone then. So you were also feeling the tiredness. Some of my friends locally also feeling the tiredness. So it's definitely plus I get reminded sometimes by some of you about um I'm trying to say something. Oh, the Schumann. So like, that resonance as far as like where we are in the energetic upgrades, right? Because the Schumann, I think, is reflecting back to us, of course, this frequency shift, right? Paradigm shift. It's like I can continue to honor, reflect, and sort of deduce like, what is this? What's going on? What's happening to us? We're evolving. We're going through quite a massive evolutionary leap, and being intuitive, being connected to our heart space, that's, what it's all about. And it's funny that you mentioned about I took lunch by myself this week because just in these last okay, so there's a subtlety in my own patterning that I more recently really started to see. And it's maybe a subtle thing. And then I was sharing it with my mom and she was like, oh, we all do that. And I'm like, well, maybe we do, but is it useful? I'm not sure. And it essentially has to do with just like the amount of worry I have about what another person might think or letting another person down, like not being there. And I'm talking about like making plans. Holla, holla, holla. How are you? Um, it's like this over concern that I have for like letting people down, or oh no, like we said we made plans, like da 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 da. Like, and I swear there is some, like, okay, it comes from, I guess, a good place, or like mom's like, oh, everyone does that. And I'm like, well, or do people does everyone? And just straight up, like, is it useful? Is it useful to be, so basically one of the examples was like trying to make plans or making plans, and then like not hearing from the person, and like having a few different layers of like concerns in my mind of like I have to get in touch with them. I, try to get in touch, but then they ended up not getting in touch. But I couldn't rest. I didn't feel like I could rest because I wasn't sure what was happening, and like versus just staying in my flow, relaxing and learning as we flow. And what is my responsibility to other people? And what's their responsibility to themselves? Right. And just like sovereignty, I have lunch with my colleagues. Oh, thank you for that little nudging reminder. So that came up for me as well, hanging out with someone I've been seeing, and they want, I woke up and I wanted to go. And they wanted me to stay. And then I stayed. And the like very subtle, I guess, lesson, it was that basically I ended up I was tired and I wanted to go and I wanted to do stuff and and I legit in that moment just favored someone else's wants, desires. It wasn't a need, wasn't any kind of emergency, just like, oh, don't go, like stay. Okay. And like there was some niceness about staying. However, in the end, I ended up getting triggered and having a huge emotion storm, which I'm now still processing. And this is all connected with like what I'm sharing with you about like the subtlety of the ways we might compromise ourselves. So Lorna did the right thing as far as saying like I need my quiet time. And I whilst I was a little in my storm, I basically express that about being an introvert, and like it's wonderful hanging out with you, and yet as an introvert, like we just do. And maybe we are all at different, spectrums of that level of introversion, but I just know myself, and it really isn't about the other person. Like my trigger, me being upset, all that, like it's not about them. It's about me honoring myself and not favoring other people's needs and wants above my own. And I almost just think it's such a default. Like it's such a profound default that it's really, really uncomfortable. And then again, like even I'm aware of people that love and support me, they're still like, but you should probably care. And I'm like, it's something like the caring part is undeniable. The caring part is just what everything I do is kind of about, right? And so it's like this little pattern, as subtle as it might be, to me is starting to come up as like a distortion of the way I direct my energy, which if even in a subtle sense, I'm prioritizing other people's needs, other people's desires, other people's wants. I don't give myself permission to have my own. Make sure everybody else is looked after. And this is like, there again, there's a subtlety within this because this isn't about victimhood. This isn't a thing of like, woe is me. I'm just like so caring about everybody. There's something, yes, mom's on, but then it's in our DNA programming, right? Like, yeah, so like I'm not here for myself. I'm only here for other. And like increasingly, but these loops, and I'm going, but those people are looking after self. And that's something that is being reflected back, is that the people around me seem to be just better at looking after themselves and better at saying no and better at prioritizing what they need for themselves. But I can still see myself sometimes feeling and trying to fit in to everyone else's stuff or manage everyone else's stuff. And I'm saying this out loud within a recognition that this isn't really my, like, these are patterns that I'm undoing, that we as a collective are undoing. That because that's what you may think, Lorna, of just the brief connection points we've had of like, um, just exactly that. You giving yourself time when you need it. Not just that default of, okay, sure, okay, yeah, dump it on me. Okay, yeah, da. Like we're all adults here. No, I'm good. I'm gonna just eat on my own. I need it for myself. Like it's not some yeah. Yeah, and then I remember months ago having a friend reflect that back of like, why don't you give yourself what you give to other people? And you're like, because I don't know how to receive it. Because I'm just so concerned for everybody else. But like really that is falling flat for me. That thing of is falling flat because also I am attracting better people who want me to look after myself. That was like I did a share on Instagram on Friday. Basically, I took 2 days off. I took a full weekend, which I haven't done in I don't even know how long. I didn't broadcast. Did I broadcast? No. I just did my Friday and then I closed her down. And that was like part of the underlying challenge was that part of my like feeling edgy and sensitive was I didn't bring my computer. So I woke up early as I normally do. And because I was at someone else's, I couldn't like do my normal workflow. And that was like uncomfortable for me. And so it's not necessarily about not never seeing the birds again, it's about making sure I'm set up so that I can do my thing. It doesn't necessarily mean it's like broadcasting or work necessarily, but like life stuff, changing numbers on things, things like that. Because I have changed my. But FYI, do you all have my new phone number? Please take her down. I'm gonna put it here, okay? Um, I think I've messaged quite a few of you, but if I haven't done, there we go. So that's my new telephone number. I don't have the other one. The other one has the phone is gone and the SIM card's being disconnected in a matter of weeks, probably. It's a difficult tie to break, right? And this is what we mean about like the weird flip, reverse, blah, blah around these so-called patterns is like it's kind of a conundrum because like on a surface level, it would appear like that's a lovely pattern. You really care about people. Yeah. Super hard. It's funny that you mentioned the family piece because that mom and I were recently discussing about that because, well, we all mom and I also have other family members that we don't see and we don't see very often. We do see, but we don't see very often. And part of it is a vibrational thing. It's that you can acknowledge, as we do here, all of the love in the world. It doesn't mean as an individual, just because somebody is blood relative, that they're going to love you and support you the way that you need necessarily. That's this whole idea of like quantum healing and or just generational healing where we love ourselves from within and essentially invoke this most divine mother father energy from within ourselves. So we reparent ourselves, right? But if we have siblings or if we have other parents or whatever that don't want to do that or think it's hogwash or think you cray cray or just have a lot of resentment or a lot of bitterness or blah blah, right? As an empath, you're gonna have to be responsible and really, really choose whether or not those people are people you want to be around with very often. And because again, there's sometimes little things that people throw around like family is the most important thing. Yeah, when it's a genuinely loving tribe of blood relatives, but a lot of people here would say sometimes our blood relatives are our best teachers, but in a very difficult sense. As in, I know my teacher, my one of my greatest teachers has been my sister because of some of the like the lies and just the back talk and the bullying and then trying to address it, but then still, being at your own. You guys get all of this, right? Exactly. And that is so legit, right? Too legit to quit. It's too legit to quit. And that, because that's the truth. Same. So I've switched up. I have a weekly yoga class at the community, right? The permaculture community of heart lovers. And I switched the day. And but I realized very much I'm like I'm in service to this community. My weekly sessions at this place are for those people. Even if only 3 people, 2 people show up, it's they enjoy it, they like it, it's good for them. And these are people that party hard, right? And so for them to be able to get together and look after their bodies and have like a little sprinkle of like well-being in this community, I think is just refreshing. Because quite there's a spectrum obviously of people, and like there is a beautiful little tribe within the grander community that are self-healers that get all of this stuff, right? So it's finding those three-dimensional communities and people that we serve in our integrity, right? And those service points have boundaries, as in I just go and I teach the yoga. I'm not committed to da, and there's no contract. They just donate incense, mushrooms, money, weed, whatever, and I show up and do the yoga, you know? You sure can, my girl. Like, I feel you. I know that very, very well. And that's part of the energy is that manipulative. I mean, as an example, one of the last times I hung out with outside of the family, it was just the fact that after however many days of da da da, I eventually just got really tired of like back talking or listening to my relative moan and moan and moan about our stepmother behind her back, just talk shit and just constantly talk shit about this and about that. And I'm thinking this is part of why I am who I am. I picked up on that 20 years ago and was like, why are you talking so shit about people? Can we let this go? Or like, it doesn't feel good to me. I don't feel good talking. Yeah. And I called her out. This is over 2 years ago, last time I saw her. And I called her out and I said, and it wasn't even an attack. It was just like, can we talk about something else? And she didn't like that. And so there I was getting like devil eyes until I just exploded. Enough. It's like all that energy just but then when I explode, it comes back to me. And then her husband pulls me aside. Maybe you should apologize. Like, I know you guys have your da da da. And for the first time in my life that I've been associated with this woman, I didn't. I thought, no, I haven't done anything wrong. And it's not like I was expecting an apology from her, but see the weird loops about this kind of level of manipulation or whatever it is, whether it doesn't matter how conscious they are or not. Whenever that, and this is again historical, this is my life, my whole life of interaction with this woman, is that something like that would go down. There wouldn't be an open apology. There wouldn't be anything a but there would be a slight kissing my arse softer. Like she would suddenly come around and say really nice things. And like again, as a 37-year-old, whatever how old I was that last time, I just saw through it so clearly and was done. Plus, as I was processing all that emotion after my explosion, because I exploded in front of my niece, which I didn't. That's part of it. Is I don't want to behave like that. I don't want to have to freak out and scream or shout or slam a door because I'm so angry. I don't want to hang out with people that make me feel like that, and then don't want to work it out altogether. Just want to pin it on me or just want to whatever, sidestep and those were it. And exactly. So I'm processing the storm after that explosion. And within that storm, I realized that these people that I have made regular effort, my blood relatives, I make regular effort and spending all the money to go back to Canada and keep these bonds together. I suddenly realized that my sister's only come to visit me once, my dad never has. And it all just put it into perspective of like, hold on. From what I can gather, these people don't even fucking like me. Why am I trying so hard to make these relationships work or last? What power have I given them, right? What? Enough. Oh, mugger, you know exactly what I'm talking about then. Yeah, exactly. And you know that energy. Don't like it. They don't like being called out. And I don't know the exact elements of that connection, but that passive aggression, right? That's what hurts. Aggression is a form of anger or rage or frustration. And if it's passive, what does that mean? They're not expressing it. So what happens? We feel it. And then they get to sit there and watch while we get angry. And they kind it's like a thing of like, see, look at them getting angry. They're all and then for the first time when I did not apologize, she starts kind of saying all this nice stuff to me, and I just thought, wow, I can find love for you, but I'm not going to tolerate this anymore. I'm not going to put myself in this situation anymore. And we're now in a global situation where I don't know when I'll be flying back to Canada, you know? And Lorna, you feel me as well because you do respect your sister as I do. Like, I absolutely respect. It doesn't mean that I'm going to bend over and let her abuse me, because that's been most of my life. I've just let that woman dominate environments and be really hard on people, and that's her own shit. And I just, as I share here now, I'm like, I just, there's too much of my own Shazam to continue to work on. There's too much of my own vision to grow. Like that thing about Molly, why don't you let yourself have what you give to other people? All these people I'm trying to please while I'm like over here in the UK by myself, no home, like no money, and all those people with all of the, and it's a funny one because the more I've stood in my integrity, the more I get. It's not passive aggression; it's actually passive kindness. It was a weird flip. Like when I made that cut inside myself of I'm not going to tolerate that anymore. Suddenly, from time to time, she'd donate to All to Love, and I just wasn't. I was just like intriguing. It's intriguing that suddenly you're putting some effort in, and that's because we're all intuitive and we all feel the truth, you know? Exactly. No, no, no. That's the whole point. It's actually coming from it's I know this. It comes from a place of love. The distance, I mean. The distance isn't about them. The distance is to love self. And then increasingly, the more you love yourself, the more you're managing your energy, which means you manage who you hang out with. You manage when you go here, when you go there, right? You're not just that we're not just at a whim of someone else's bidding, which we may have been in the past, right? I.e. slaves, the enslavement culture, right? Um, yeah, exactly. I would love that being accountable, but holy Shazam, it makes me realize, we're quite far along this little self-responsibility journey. And I know we all feel it, like there's so much work within to be done, which is a glorious thing, and yet I feel that we are getting a lot clearer about, oh, that's not mine. And I don't need that, even if you be my mother, my father, my whatever. Because as well, for a lot of us, that love we feel is so infinite and profound. Like, because even way back in the Dizzy, when I intuitively was called to travel to the UK and just travel, um, like I kn- I don't know where I was going with that, but like I knew I weren't necessarily coming back, right? And it's been over the course of the years that um so what part of my mind's thinking about how like the few times I have touched on number to have these conversations with her is like obviously we as siblings you grew up in the same home, so you can probably connect sometimes on certain levels of trauma. But because I went away and did all this healing, increasingly there's just a bigger vibrational gap because I'm not carrying so much trauma toward and against my parents. And so for me, I'm not a therapist and she certainly doesn't want my advice or my anything. So but it's actually painful. If you're not engaged in a healing type of expansive light-filled contract with somebody, you're essentially unconsciously uncontract to their densities and essentially letting them keep them and just putting them in place where that's also not my function. I'm not interested in going round and round in circles about all the trauma or how bad my mom was or how horrible my stepmom was, right? It becomes like, oh God, I just want to be free and joyful and let everyone else choose that for themselves. And no, it doesn't mean we're perfectly free and perfectly joyful every day of the live long smile, right? But we take it in. That's the point of empathy and sentience. It's been unavoidable for us most of our life to not go within and get a sense of what the actual F is going on here. Because something is off, it's not exactly what it seems. That's how we know all these years later what is deception, what is manipulation. It's when people are lying and or they don't know what they're feeling. People are, I mean, how do you think people get so morbidly obese or how we get so much into some toxicity? It's because of the disconnect. It's because people don't feel. And oftentimes we can be in those situations as feelers. And if people aren't accustomed to feeling certain feelings, they don't want to feel it. And so they're just gonna attack. But those attacks can be slight, covert, right? Not so obvious. And you're like, what was that about? Or present people can also help us cut through our own bull, right? Same mirrors, yeah. Because even just yesterday, hanging out with this person, I was already triggered, obviously, but like hanging out with this person and then just sharing a story that was much more connected to the old narrative of nobody wants to listen and people just want to control me and blah, blah, blah. And this guy he was talking about it, and I revered a situation. He didn't feed it at all. And there was this moment where part of me really wanted to feed it. And he just looked at me and I was like, "Ugh." And then I just obviously just cried. But then I also realized deeper than that was me denying my truth because I favored. At the same time, it's not good or bad or right or wrong. It's just navigating healthy relationship. This is a person that I've been dealing with for over a year. And since I've become more stable, the relationship has improved because I'm safer, because my nervous system isn't heightened to fuck from all the trauma of the last few years of poverty and eviction and, you know, and slowly but surely making strides within our community here to be offering more services, right? You're really, really getting clear with that. Mirrors, exactly. When you work like that, that's it's unavoidable. That's how you work. I want to send a massive shout to all of you for sure, but also Mark when he does see this. I want to say hi to Mark because Mark's and again be aware of things in different capacities, but Mark's been a very I mean, and you all have, and yet I'm just replying to an email basically from Mark about the message I put a post on um there he is. I put a post on Instagram. I do think the monthly reading is too much work. Yeah, cheers, bud. Like, just having somebody so easily say that, like, yeah, I do think it's too much work because I'm feeling really dragged by the having to show up for the monthly readings. And, it sounds kind of, I guess there's a part of me for whatever reason that feels awful. And yet there's another part of me who's like, it's just the way it is. It's with biz. And, like, I guess there's something being reflected back to me about the channel. And the reason I set up the channel and started sharing so vulnerably all these years ago was really to find you guys, my besties, my tribe, people who feel me, right? People who like maybe aren't resonant all the time, but we like feel the heart of compassion and you feel all to love. You understand on a heart-centered level, like what am I trying to achieve here, right? And another breakthrough I'm having around like letting go is realizing like for me to take this business to another level that where there's like a certain amount of income, it means that that income is for the people of the community, right? The people that work with Ultra Love, the people, and that's something we've been gently pioneering within this Ultra Love community, right? And it's something that I recognize I need to. That's why I have to keep letting go. Is like let other people come and show up and help, and then essentially all the profit. I know that profit will look after me, will look after my mom, and then look after the community in however that looks. And that means substantial amounts of cash flow. But it has to be so clear in my heart that that cash flow has nothing to do with me and like me being special or important or even being wealthy in that regard because I'm already wealthy, like in my heart before I even, like even when I was broke ass and you guys were sending in donation because you felt so bad for me and you also didn't want me to starve, or get evicted from not paying rent. That's not why I got evicted. So, yeah, you guys were always there. We've been there for each other and da, it all goes around and you've supported the work in that regard. And so my expectation is that Ultra Love will continue to support us in all the ways that we can continue to grow and evolve the love that we feel because that's how it is. But that's even in my natal chart, right? It's part of my own sort of astrological stuff is that it's almost like unless I know that like what I'm doing is benefiting other people and for other people, it's hard for me to create it. Like I feel selfish or feel greedy or something. So I had to have that shift of like recognize that the money you're profiting or like money that you're bringing in for profit, that's just money to pay people that are helping you and like including a salary for my mom and like all that kind of stuff. Um, and so making that shift has helped me kind of ease off and go, hence not making unnecessary work. And especially because the people, like if I'm just sharing intuitively, the people that show up will show up, like you already have and you do. And then the people who need or want or need the messages for the readings or whatever, they'll find them because it's also timeless anyway. But I guess that rigid, like keeping to a fixed thing when you're not so sure of, and it's been a journey with doing the tarot for sure. It's just, yeah. Well said. We are building a grand community, and it is all exactly. It's just for the world, and it's just you guys who really feel me on that. Like a lot of people might not think that's the truth, and it's like that's the truth. All to love is just for a more loving world, and we're gonna open up to receive all that we need to just keep pummeling more love into the world. And it's going to come from money and it's going to come from people and it's going to come from the resources of the earth and it's going to come from but it has nothing to do with hoarding or powering or you know it's like nothing to do with anything disconnected from the wholeness of our creative field, right? And so all to love to me is just like any other company of our new paradigm earth where we're in harmony. We're not destroying the planet, we're not destroying one another, we're not manipulating one another, we're genuinely here like looking after one another and providing valuable services, not weird, corrupted, distorted, like shady deals. You know? It's like just swallowing the pill and going, yeah, okay. The media has been brainwashing our minds and programming us to function a certain way. Our governments, for the most part, I'm not saying every single person, but a lot, I would say, within those fields have sold out to corporate greed. And due to our sort of comfort of life, people don't want to own anything. They don't want to face the darkness that we're in. They don't want to look at that. And yet, again, I'm kind of at that point of like, it's happening, whether we like it or not. It's like, again, contract like a deeper contract we know we have with Earth, the being of Earth, which again trumps the trumps of the world, right? People that think they're like more important than Earth or like can dominate Earth. It's like, did you forget where you live? I know it looks like a house that you built, but you built it from the materials that your deeper home provided. And you want to pretend like that home doesn't matter. you know? And so we're having to really own the body. Our body here is of the earth. It's making me think I'm still like sitting a lot with different layers of insight into addiction, where it's again aligning a lot more with like the Gabor Mate. But I'm also really going into quantum healing and in inciting or because again recently somebody said to me about how like nobody basically our phones, our distractions, drugs, alcohol, everything deters. And there's something about like in a austere religious spiritual kind of dogma, I think, around like once you are pure, then you are good enough. And so much judgment. There's people have just so much judgment around, especially like here, more so here because it's still illegal. People still are like marijuana is a drug and da. And I'm like, it is, but it's also a plant. It's an herb, like mushroom. It's a little different than hala hala. EFT training going great. So I have another session. Um, and I'll just continue to put it out there, but like I do want to have practical case sessions with people. So if anybody wants like usually I think we'll probably do half an hour to hour long EFT sessions. Yeah, I think it would be a full hour possibly, but or shorter, but EFT. So basically as well, you can look at anything you're working with. And so far from crew members, we have things like looking at our smoking, not our collectively, but I know myself and a couple of us do have that compulsion or habit rather than making it some horrible thing. It's a habit like anything else. To change your up like anything else. Some crew members wanting to look at like sexual energy or sexual distorted energy, which is still connected to sort of things that we're doing that we're like, do I really want to be doing that? So like, yeah, that's that energy. And I just feel that collectively the EFT is a tool to help me work with people and bring stuff up in a different way and then heal stuff. And just like yoga, there's like they call it borrowing benefit. So like when I do EFT with people, I get benefit. And then for some of you, like maybe the yoga isn't your main bag, but I think for some of you, you could end up adopting EFT for your own self because we're sensitives, like because we all resonate with having a lot of mesh, i.e., being very present with the energy flux moving through our being, right? And so EFT is just a technique. Like I can literally like just press on certain points and feel the benefit almost right away. So you have these sore points, which are often like the opening statement. So even though I'm feeling this tension right now, I still deeply and completely love and accept myself. So you have an opening statement with here or here, and then you tap on the emotion. So this emotion, this feeling, and then these are the points. This is mechanical EFT, what I'm showing you. So these are the main points. But then we get to learn about some of the other points that there's like the kidney. And these are all like sort of acupressure points. So it is scientific as far as like these are acupressure points, which we can obviously like, like press, and then it helps to reprogram. So basically, instead of acting out the compulsion or acting out the phobia, as in not wanting to do something, having too much fear around something, the EFT is known to somewhat miraculously just drop it off. It's like the way I'm feeling into it, if I were to get really serious, I've been quite resistant to it, if I'm honest. Um, so if I were to really start tapping around my smoking, it's likely that the tapping would just somehow replace it. And that instead of even wanting to go have a cigarette or a joint, I just wouldn't. So I basically have a little bit more space to choose. Oh, it's fascinating, isn't it? Interestingly enough, it wasn't my yoga training like in India, but when I moved down to Devon to start teaching, the girl that she did some EFT with me. and I liked it, and that's part of why it's come up. I've just seen people talk about tapping in EFT, and then fortunately, she's the woman who teaches it or facilitates it here in the United Kingdom. She's actually in my county. She lives really close. And Hala, 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 Jessica. So Jess, I thought of you the other day for some reason. I'm not sure exactly why or how, but somebody else popped in and then it reminded me of you. So hala, 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 hala. How are you? You can let me know if you want to be a moderator. I can put you up, but I also never want to pressure people as well. It's just for like the occasional when I do go live. Plus, I do feel I'm changing it up again. So I'm going to change up. I'm going to keep my tarot services, obviously, because plenty of people know and book on the regular. But I do feel like I'm just going to return this channel to be super intuitive. I'll probably do collective energy updates on the regular. I'm likely to do like an occasional intuitively guided live share that includes the readings, but nothing too intense. Holla, 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 holla. I know it was honestly probably Thursday that you were coming in real strong, my lover. So I'm gonna have to write that down because we're endeavoring to compile, and I literally checked the other day. So Scott, one of our very sort of handy and prominent crew members. And so here I am, like I'm going through going, is there any birthdays in November? And I don't see any, but we do. Hannah. Happy, happy birthday. Happy birthday, Jessica. So Thursday was November 18th. Thank you, my lover. Okay, we've got Jess in there now. Happy birthday! Holla, holla, holla. So maybe we would just like happy birthdays just for Jess today. I'm so glad you're here. And thank you for sharing. How was it? Did you have a nice birthday surprise? It's very exciting, if I do say so myself. It's funny that I knew. It's so funny that you reflect that as well, of like the intuition, because it literally was like in this time frame. I mean, like, oh, Jessica, because only also because I am on social media way less. So I'm like not on Facebook. I do my updates on Instagram, but even that, like I'm coming off, and I basically employ someone to do my regular Instagram posts on the other channels. As a company, we've decided to come off Facebook, and so I'm really just sharing here, and like I'm aware that some of you I have a strong connection with, essentially, like just bonded as far as like energies. So it's really really nice when you come back in, and then there's like legit real connect. You're like, why? Because of this. Aha, I see you, baby, shaking that arse for your birthday. Holla Shazam, Jessica. Holla Shazam. Went out with coworkers on tonight. Amazing. Had some gifts at work. Woo! Ugh, but that's lush, right? And gifts at work at a flower delivery. That's very, very nice. That's super sweet. Amazings, me liver. So that's one thing as far as like just I've been compiling, I think. Do I have Elf? I have Lorna here. I do have Elf. So Elf's birthday is coming up. Do you know who else is coming up? So we have a couple other crew members which we might be a little less aware of, but so Heath, I believe, is December 14th. And then Rochelle, I'm pretty sure, is December 16th. But hey, you guys, when you catch this, correct me if I'm wrong. I think Rochelle's December 16th. But Rochelle, if you're seeing this, tell me. Also, again, you guys get my number. I've made sure that the live chat does come on the replay, by the way, because one of you mentioned that you couldn't see the chat during the replay, and that's because one of the sort of things on the back I found it basically. I saw what it means is that I have to click a little button to make sure that the live replay comes. Basically, this chat happens when people replay because people that have been missing the live chat are like, "Why can't I see the live comments?" And I'm like, "Ah, I found it." Ah, la, 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 la. It's funny as well because this month is meant to be like a really yeah, just electrical kind of active month. So you might have felt like a bit edgy or tired, but it was fun, like really nice to get out and the energy, just enough energy there to do it all. Um, so now it is like, so you're Scorpio, you're right at the end of Scorpio. And now we're in Sun has just moved into Sagittarius, hasn't it? Hello, hello. Hey, Scott Setzela. How are you? Nice to see you. So yeah, I think just some nice changes will be happening here. And like, I just appreciate your guys' love and beingness, essentially, right? Hey, Scott Setzela, look, I've got some more birthdays for us. Scott's the one who made the list for me. Well, actually for himself. And I was like, give it to me. Give it to me because I also, well, not also, he's really good at correspondence. I'm not. And I want to be good with you guys especially. To really, um, yeah, kind of be the person that sometimes I wished I had had in my life, and and it does make a difference when people remember birthdays, and mm, yeah, it's good grand rising to Scott Setzler. Um, so yeah, I definitely want to. Because now that I've got this new phone as well, I'm suddenly realizing, like, oh no, what if I've lost my, like I'm looking through going, fuck, I'm already possibly missed someone. Anyway, there's the Isaac's birthday as well that I'm looking for, and I really, really, yes, sweet, it's in there. um, I did know, FYI, I did know what it was, but I had to double check to be 100% certain. So I'm getting names. So Rochelle, I want to double check that Rochelle is December 16th. I knew it. You knew it. I did know it. Fucking hell. Okay, but I just wanted to make sure. And then I found it on the day that I looked and I had to make sure. So yeah. Oh, nice one, Isaac. Hella hella. So then that's like a thing, you guys, as well. Of and then Heath, if you be here, my lover, let me know if you're the. I think Heath is December 14th. Rochelle is December 16th, but I could be wrong. I could be off skis on like one of those days, right? And like something I want to reflect as well with Pod Surfer is just the integrity of the crew and like the foundation of all y'all with Ultra Love and how we grow and shapeshift and morph, and like being us in different pockets of the world, how we can continue to do whatever it is that we're called to do with enough, because there's another lever actually, I feel. And indeed, I ought to just put him in the crew, because some of us are all connected on Instagram as well, and that is Dustin. So Dustin, I feel could be crew, but I like to double check with people before just putting them on. A part of me feels like I want to check in with Andy as well. Oh, Brenda, I did see Brenda Hernandez in the house. I did see Brenda here. Hi, 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 hi. You guys are the best. I love you. Yeah, so thank you. And then I'm like, who else? It's the fact that we have Scott, and I'm trying to feel like, let me check, see. And I have a friend of mine, oh good, look, see, I've put quite a few. Sorry guys, I'm super entertaining. Yeah, Dustin Brad, that's right. You know, you know. Wow, that's really annoying. I'm gonna have I'm gonna have to get in touch. That is super. Ah. Anywho, my lovers, I'm totally distracted now. I'm just wanting to make sure I legit have everyone's birthday, because the crew, I feel as well, if I'm really open and transparent with you guys, I'm feeling pretty much like the foundational crew is like consolidated, like this is us. And then because we're all kind of connected on different social media platforms, there is a real integrity, like real family, like people who genuinely care. Plus, there's a fair bit of resonance. Like, we have a very inclusive tribe as far as there's a lot of different ages, backgrounds, obviously gender. And even with regards to the current situation, there are people in the crew who have had a vaccination. There's plenty in the crew who have not. So we're just like here holding space for everyone to get to be who they are. And that's that, we're healing and ultimately raising ourselves up for the most optimal timeline, which includes as many people as possible who want to feel more love and more compassion, and do continue with this idea of healing into a greater harmony, more compassion, basically, right? Um, so yeah, there's a very inclusive crew, a very loving pod of people. And so this is a sort of integral foundation, and I yeah, and this is a support network ultimately, right? So y'all are all connected, and I do am aware that there's, connections beyond just time when we chat, but people that chat amongst themselves. And there have been different themes that run through for people. Like for some of you that are choosing not to be vaccinated, there's been a small handful of you who have had different interventions and a lot of kickback or backlash from family members. So there is that going on. Um, Cyber sanctuary. Ooh, I like that. Thank you. Oh, Elf, I really like that. We could coin the crew as the cyber sanctuary, right? Because even things like small fundings for moderators and, working it on that level, it's just that it's like completely letting go of knowing how to grow it. Just know I want to give more. And so I have to receive more. You guys help me do that though. Because even it was, yeah, I never actually got round to, but it was Mark's email. He was like, "Yeah, feel free to not do that." It's like the crew, the people that are here and really, really familia vibratory are like just super in resonance of like your free flying YouTube shows are always fun. Yeah, like I miss those and I shifted that, right? And as much as I love the tarot is a piece of it all, not the main thing. And it's almost like the YouTube has become the main thing tarot, right? As they were relevant to today's world. See, funny or serious, your shows are excellent. Thank you. And then just like, if you don't want to do it, it's probably fantastic. Sweet. See, it's just like a friend going like, why not? Like why not just have more time for yourself? It's like, thanks, bud. And versus us saying not people that aren't involved or aren't because part of the sharing so honestly with you guys is that this the service is that you're most important to me. And so I'm like, and I care about all of humanity, but you guys are my familia. You're my people who look after me, and I look after you. And so it's like, if you guys are okay with me not doing it, then I'm okay with not doing it because you're the only people that actually really, really matter. And then the people that are meant to come along, they do. They just do. Recently, an Instagram connection, which also was a tarot connection. They found there's a new tribe member today, Carrie. So, um, as far as like just finding other levels that have that same exactly how y'all at different times have come in, where it's like, I know you, I know who you are, remember your essence, and it's like that. And so there's that familiarity of like, I know you and I feel this and I wanna join in the chat, and that's all we're here to do is just share. And then the beauty is like getting to share with you guys. So my lovers, don't forget to check up and get your phones. I love you. I love you. You love me. See my phone number up here? Also of TV is the only comment that I've put in the comment thread. That's my new phone number. If you want it, put it in your phone so that we can be in touch there. My other number is done. It's not active anymore at all. And it feels really good, right? Because now certain types of energies just will not be able to penetrate my field. I'm not on Facebook. I'm not on, it's just fantastic. So I appreciate you guys. I'm so thankful. Like I really realize like I'm pretty sure it's even in my natal chart, but like my destiny is just family. Like even though like there's this sort of Capricornian ambition, which I actually feel like I've exhausted already. I'm like, okay, fine. There's that brand there. Who cares? I just want to be in love with my family. I just want to look after people. I just want to love people. It's just in like or shine light for people to love themselves and see the reward of that spirit connection. You guys, I feel like I'm gonna close her down. So thank you so much because I've now acquired Jess, Heath, Rochelle, Isaac, Scott Zatzala. Are you there? I feel like your birthday is October 19th, but I am having a block. It's either the 6th, but I feel like that's another Scott because we literally went through this last month. In case you guys are wondering how awesome I am, yeah. Just from 1 month ago. I'm like, because I did the same thing with Isaac as well. I like wrote it down, forgot about it. No, I know your thing. And I'm like, I could legit find it somewhere. I'm just being a bit lazy. Not looking it up. I better look up all the past, right? Holy cow. I'm just looking back and being like, I don't think y'all could even know how much you helped me. Seriously. Hmm. Okay, you guys, I'm. Oh, yes, you are. See, I knew that. I did know that. That was what I had in my mind. Thanks, Scott. And we have a lot of fondness for Scott Schutz, but he's not part of the crew. He's not in our crew vibratory. He's just a alta lover in his own right. It's funny, Scott, as well, because our little list. So Scott, as you guys know, Scott helped me consolidate the crew birthday list, right? And oh, you have October 1st for Scott Schugarts. It's funny that he's in the list. um, I'm in April as well, so there's a month of April that we're missing, but there's a very few in October, but that's you, Scott, and then that's Isaac as well, and then who have we got in November? Jess. Jess is November 18th, January, and then Feb. I'm curious as to whether we have any February babies. My sister, my blood sister, is February 8th. March. Ooh, Divine Side. Jamie is March 17th, St. Patty's Day. 16th or 17th. And then quite a few in May. Got Brenda, Lorna. Mark is also in March. June is Andy. So there's just July, no birthdays, September, no birthdays so far. Isaac, yeah. But he spells it like this, you know. Yeah, is that correct, Isaac? I could be wrong, but I've never seen that. Although I've seen that as well, right? Like I've seen Isaac is pronounced that way, but he Isaac spells it like that. Unless I'm wrong, you can correct. But okay, cool. So we've got more birthdays, which is amazing. I really aren't you guys glad you signed up for the crew? You just spend 4 hours every day or every week giving Molly or trying to remind her of your birthdays. Because since my parents got divorced, basically, I became really shit at correspondence because everyone that mattered just abandoned me. Yeah. It's just we grow from within self to give ourselves all the love and care we deserve, and because every human deserves it, every child, every being is a being of God. So we might as well love ourselves as we would have everyone be loved. And then dreams can come true because we just want this world to be a little bit nicer. Not so fucking cruel and horrible, right? And it's like, oh my god. Yeah, because that came up. I watched an interview with George Monbiot, and then I just have so much emotion sometimes. Oh god, I love you guys. You know, and do you ever have that where you're edgy and you just like get tired of living in your own skin? I know you guys feel that sometimes. And for whatever reason, like straight up, I can feel emotion like right now. And there seems to be like more frequently, kind of out of nowhere, just this. I yesterday I was describing it as like a wellspring. It's not like I'm premenstrual, although kind of am, but not massively. And yeah, that's a heat. Oh, I'm just seeing like, oh, Shazam! I've got a little heater there for the heat. I just, for some reason, really felt cold this morning and wanted more heat. I really appreciate. Thank you guys so much for your. Like it really is just an affirmative. Like if I just check in with you guys, you'll be like, yeah or no, and then you're good. But I do want to pull some cards just for the crew vibratory for the week ahead. It's divine guidance and loving clarity for the Ultra Love crew, divine guidance and loving clarity for the lovers of the Most High. Because then I want to as well offer, I'll do energy update for December, but I think I'll be finishing the monthlies. I think I've done 3 Taurus, Scorpio, Aries. I'll probably finish our December and then look to the new year for a bit of a new flow. We're not changing. Like I'll just carry on doing my live share crew with you guys as and when. Keep it for the Monday morning for now because it's working, but maybe we can go back to having an occasional Zoom, or maybe we can like meet up and do group EFT or group yoga, you know, like just keep the familia vibratory going, right? Oh, but it sort of felt good. Interesting. You know, and I gotta say that's part of this. What I was just saying about the wellspring is that my pattern and habit. I'm realizing it's way safer than I maybe once thought, but like it's okay to share and express emotion. But truth be told, sometimes like I just want to be on my own because I know how to process it, but it's not attractive and people have judgments and reactions. And so you just want to be on your own, right? Um, and because I swear, like now I'm getting to this point where like I'll feel the energy body and it starts to get edgy and it's almost like a precursor to like there's going to be some emotion storm, and for me to just be on my own to process that is sort of the quickest and most effective way to move through the energy densities versus trying to explain to somebody like the karmic backlog and emotional trigger waves and storms and the process of transforming emotional densities, like because a lot of people will be like, what? Hmm? Why are you sad? Why are you crying? What are you doing there? What did I do? What did you do? Why are you upset? You're like, stop talking. I need to feel it until it goes away. Especially because I feel like there is some heavy duty shifting happening in the collective. That of course no mainstream media is going to talk about this, right? Business as usual. Except actually, there's a lot of increasing emotional volatility, increasing disclosure, increasing absolute and utter confusion, alongside huge waves of ego deaths, huge waves of people just like having an awakening, going, oh my God, everything that I've built, everything that I thought I was is a lie. Holy fuck. Boom. And what can any of us do but be willing to be present enough to process the energy that's moving through us? Because it's there. And if it's there, it's there. And this is what I was explaining to this person. It's like just sit with it. I am sitting with it. I'm letting it move through me. It's just that conventionally speaking, people just want this to go away. It's just let it go. Yeah, that's why I'm processing it. To let it go. Me trying to bottle it for your convenience and emotional comfort isn't necessarily where I'm at anymore. You have a problem with my tears? Get over it. That's your problem, not mine. It's like, guess what? We're still not living in a higher harmonic yet, so I'm gonna keep processing. the rage and the pain of this life, you know? Make a heart love for you, my lover. Hey, ask away, Scott. Please do. That's even better. Ask a direct question. For work, jobs, and financial resources, let's get cracking. Okay, what's in store for work, jobs, and financials? That's a beautiful question. I feel like maybe we can all just own that because, like, I was inserting stuff about ultra love on the same level, right? Of like, I don't know, I just gotta let it go. But what's in store? What's in store for Scott and the Ultra Love Life Share crew as far as work, jobs, and financial resources go? I'm curious. Oh, for sure. Absolutely. You mean in the presence of another or with other? Is there a difference? I don't know. But I will I'll look to that as well because yes. And I would dare say as well, Isaac, that when it comes up, i.e., it's a practice for me too, right? Because this stuff's starting to come up. So it's like when we are with other, there's either one that can either possibly be a bit of a distorted breaking point if the relationship isn't in a higher harmonic, if other isn't as present or aware or able to hold space for you. Versus if you're coming to contact where this is a healthy and safe space to be yourself, part of what's happening is that we're being called to different either constellations or specific people because it's part of the greater awakening and the greater evolutionary quantum shift. And so I would say the deeper we have an understanding of the process itself, the more able we are to process with other and ask of other to either hold space or to biofeedback off of the presence of other for I mean, usually your intuition will work it all out anyway. Like you'll know. And yet when stuff's coming up, personally, I think when someone's there, it's because they're meant to be. Like all of you guys showed up literally in the perfect divine timing to hold space for me, to help me heal. You showed up as witnesses to my own healing process because it was at that time that I needed the witness. I needed people holding space, right? Just like the physical reality opens up and manifests what it needs when it needs. Um, so absolutely. Um, it's absolutely wonderful and amazing to process with other. However, not maybe not always necessary, especially if we're on our own and stuff's coming up. We can process that on our own, right? I'm pulling cards for the Scott's question about resources. Something, something about like you're just gonna have to stay put right now, dude. There's healing happening. I was really like, oh, have you ever heard that expression? You're healing. Great, thanks. I've been healing for the last 25,000 lives. No. Well, there is that. And there is a feeling of you're just going to have to keep balancing your budget basically for now, for like the here now, like maybe the week ahead. However, what's amazing, right, is this card is the triumphant card. This card is the umbrella energy, Scott. So which is over top of the star reverse. This is telling me you're healing, you're becoming healed, you're becoming more whole, you're becoming more feminine and or intuitive, but more whole, I would say, more integrating with your feminine aspects, right? Which can have a lot to do with all of us and what we're doing. And this healing, it's like reach for the stars. I'm hearing just reach for the stars, just stay in yourself. There's a lot of like just singular energy. I need clarity on that Knight of Swords. So no movement, no like don't it's almost this energy is sort of telling me just don't look to the horizon right now. Stay inner. Stay inside yourself for the healing. Don't you feel that, Scott, though? Like, cause I literally just when I was checking for your birthday, I looked back at our like so I basically I found some emails of ours from like 2019. And that just made me be like, fuck, it's been a while now. And it's relentlessness because they're, years and years. They're like, wow, I'm still feeling a lot of densities. I feel though it's that there's something about wanting to move really fast through this, and it's just not possible. Sorry. The tower moment. It's almost like if you try to rush this process and like go travel or just move in a direction when you're not really sure, it will just bring it all down. It will all come crashing down. So really your optimal timeline right in the here and now present moment is heal, aim for the stars, trust in your intuitive feminine connection, keep loving yourself, know that you've been through a lot. It's not like in your imagination. You've been bruised. You've had like even that I'm seeing the big bandage around his head being like you've had head trauma. You've had like certain levels of abuse that warrant you taking the time to love yourself, to heal, to embrace your femininity, to let yourself luxuriate in the energy of a mother that maybe you never had, right? Or maybe a lot of us never had. Because even my mom was sharing that about her own process of healing that stuff in her and going like, I know I wasn't the perfect mom. I mean, like I tried my best and your dad tried his best, but like we only knew how to love as far as we were loved. So there's that super duper recognition, and me seeing my own mom going like, I'm still learning how to love myself because my mom never knew, again, like my mom was adopted, right? So, and I know that I know there's like an orphan wound. I know there's an invisible wound in all adopted children because the person that birthed them from the womb cut the cord and they never it's like it's like that primordial love got disowned, and not through anyone's fault. That's not me blaming my grandmother or whatever. No, no, no. This is all tied into our global paradigm shift, right? And things that we used to do under the veil of the Piscean age versus how we in our heart space are going, what would be better? Well, healing definitely feels better, except guess what? We're realizing how fucking relentless it is. It's like, what? Can't I just take a fucking magic pill? If I just keep smoking joints, will it make it better? No. Like, all right, Scott. So that's oh, birthing. Well, I think if anything as well, there is just a birthing of a rebalance. So with you healing all of this is part of it as well. You're drifting children. It's true. It's true. Because I would say that connection to home was disconnected from, and it was such a primordial disconnection because it was right at the time of birth, right? And yet here we are in a unified tribe of going, let's all be our best mothers and fathers and let's permission one another to be the mother and father that maybe we didn't have and our parents didn't have and our parents didn't have. And that's why we're healing on a quantum level. Because we're healing up to, which is science based, we're healing up to 14 generations. Does that even like how many hundreds of years is that? That's a lot. I.e., we're going back to maybe approximately a couple thousand years, right? Before the military war complex completely took over our humanity. And now we have to reclaim from that, A war is just part of life. Is it though? Don't have to be when you evolve your consciousness. Nah. Okay, I'm gonna go back now into the void, reaching all around, not feeling anything to calm that inner child. That feels like a song for me for some reason. Okay, here we go. So I'm gonna pull more. So Scott, I hope that was somehow useful. It's not like the Ten of Pentacles is coming in, but there is a lot of healing happening. So in my awareness, as we continue the healing, life continues to sort itself out. And I'm looking down. It's all about the healing right now because it's almost like I'm getting an intuitive insight around the healing for any of us is also what allows us to really ground in and thus vibrate that desired financial flow. I feel like there's possibly financial stuff that just is going to come in miraculously that there's no way, no how that your physical vessel could see right now. Okay, cool. Thanks. This is why we feel so much for the tribes. Yeah. Right? Because we just all deserve, we know we all have a home here. It's just that the energy bodies, the programmed energy bodies are like running around looking for a mommy. Like, and that's something I see in my own mom sometimes, like that woundedness of like just wanting to be loved by mama. Mama was not there. My mom, I was lucky. Even if there were other issues, at least my mother was there. At least I know I'm grateful. I know I'm blessed. I know that. And yeah, so it's just a familia, and I remember this from a very young age because I always had such a small family, and I grew up with friends who often had massive families. It's a different dynamic, and so from quite a young age, like I'm talking high school, I remember realizing, like, my friends were a support system because I couldn't necessarily, at that time anyway, rely on my sister. She didn't support me. As far as I could tell, she hated my guts. And then, like, mom did her absolute best. She's a great mom, right? And yet, in her own struggle, she wasn't always there either, right? Because she had bills to pay and like kids to raise. So it's like I realized that the camaraderie and the support that I had via my friends, that to me was a familial type of support, right? See, exactly. And so we do have those teachers and people that show up for us. Um, I'm gonna now just address and go to and so the question of after we have Scott, and then I'm curious whether or not it's possible to process with another. I kind of addressed that, right? Like absolutely yes. And sometimes it's unavoidable and or it's cosmically guided. Like, we're meant to have a connection with somebody, we're meant to, because I just know that from my own experience, like, there are things that I'm meant to have a witness for. It's like I cannot do it on my own. I need that person to show me that this is real and this is what I'm processing and this is what I'm going through. Increasingly, I find I can do it on my own. It's just that as I'm engaging in a different type of relationship dynamic, I'm having to, like, obsess what's safe to reveal, and I guess as I'm see, it makes me emotion. It's like realizing more and more when you're safe to reveal and when you're safe to be yourself, there's just such a relief. As in, if someone won't start manipulating you or won't abandon you or won't, like actually attracting people who want to be there and like who want to keep being there and then also don't want to like make you feel bad if you can't be there for them. Like, oh, I'm hearing that song. I feel like making love. Me calls them family, same. And I mean, like, this is what I mean about honoring the hierarchical wisdom of familia, soul, familia, tribe, inner circle, like truly trusted and connected people that love you, want the best for you, allow that to change. That's one thing as well. Like, I let people change their mind. As in, even along the years, people have signed up and then left, and I remember when I was pioneering initially, like 2015 and 2016, really laying down Ultra Love. And I remember having this thing about like no love lost. Even if people don't like me, even if people don't like Ultra Love and they unsubscribe, I still want to shine love for those people. I know it's a funny navigation for sure, right? Oh, right? You're holding so much and it's like it's becoming that way. We're like holding it in is making like holding it in sometimes I think it's it's coming to that. I feel like there's certain connector points that we're meant to be gently opening up to. I don't know how exactly, but I guess just even feeling like we can be ourselves here and share here is like the stepping stones to us embracing more of those relationships in real life. S Right? I know, and the ones that really understand, because there are people I think that can hold space. I don't know that they're necessarily in understanding. Who knows what their perception is? It's not up to me to decide. Okay, my lovers. Now, Jess, I'm gonna go to Jess's question with the white heart about I'm curious about love and relationships. So that's specific to, well, relationships, but again, there's a lot going on in the collective about relationships. It's just to do with the transits. Like there's the Venus Capricorn transit. There's some sort of like basically Venus and Mars have been in this conversation now for months and months, I'm pretty sure, and that's, bringing stuff up for all of us in that dynamic. So love and relationships. So I'm kind of honing in on Jess's energy, but of course it's for the crew, the collective. What's the divine guidance and loving clarity? Divine guidance and loving clarity. Eh, sort of a similar vibratory to the Scott reading. Very, very single energy right now. More healing. Okay, there is a sense of manifesting. Nothing's coming off right now though, because this card is like wanting the full attention. This card of, I feel fantastic. I'm amazing. Nobody could take me down. I've got my cups in a row. The luck. This is the luck. I also though, not it's not just about luck. This card is about feeling good. This person feels good about the person that they are. This is the supreme energy of love and relationships. I'm good. Because, so this is the energy before we manifest the love, because the love card is here, but it's in the reverse. And the reason it's in the reverse is because we're still healing. Wait for it, you guys, because you're gonna love this. We're still healing this. Lies, betrayal, people who say one thing and do another, people who pretend like they give a shit, but they don't. So, also, though, the nice thing about this energy is all reversed. And that is telling me you are healing it. You are healing this distortion. Otherwise, this would also be reversed. It's not. It's almost like you're accumulating these cups by processing all of this heartache, backstabbing bullshit of life, which is also connected to our own disempowered point of attraction. I could never do that. Oh no, that's not me. I must serve this other person who could probably put another stabbing in my back. This is going to get turned around by owning this fully and healing this. But it's almost like this energy has got to be out of our field to then manifestation and or change movement. Oh, I'm getting another insight. You might end up having a shift of perspective around love as well. Pardon me. Like that's just a reality. You may in these next, well, this is really the week, but because it's a specific question from one of you, like this could be a bit of a timeline, the next month ahead, the next whatever, is that you, through your healing and through being an awesome independent human, yeah, you'll heal. And then it's the Seven of Pentacles is making me feel like you might, in that healing process, have a change of heart or have a change of just some sort of perspective shift, which really changes the game and then eventually brings in a potential partner, a potential love essence. But it just, again, there is healing in the interim, because whatever is coming through on this, whatever is being manifest keeps going down the poo poo, or like This could also feel to me like we're having dates, like you're going for it, like you're open to having date, you're open to having dar, but it's nothing is coming up as a match because you're the match for yourself right now. And also, I want to reiterate this because I want to say you're doing good work because you are healing it, right? Otherwise, again, this wouldn't be in the upright, and you wouldn't have the 2 cups here. So love is here. Love is on the cards. It's just not you. Just haven't met the right person yet. And the part of the reason not is because we're still healing. It's like we're coming with a substantial amount of open wounding, and then we want to get it on with somebody, and they touch our back, and we're like, right? And then they're like, "Shit, are you okay?" You're like, "Fuck, I can't do this right now." Like I still have to heal my wounds. I think that's probably being a bit melodramatic, but in a way, that's sort of like I can kind of look back at this last year in a bit and look at some of them. I'm still relating to them, and yet it for mostly was not relating because the few times last year that we like tried to, I guess, be in something or endeavor to connect with one another intimately, I would just basically get triggered supreme and then project this onto them and run away. And the whole process was just this continual. No, I can't be with somebody right now because I need to feel this. Because this is such a fucking profound pattern that I just keep projecting this onto you like you're an asshole, but they're not an arsehole. This energy, healing this energy is an arsehole. When you've been through it, your nervous system is a bit wrecked. It takes a little while to heal that wound, to take those swords out, and to resurrect yourself. It's just that even in the resurrection phase, sometimes I feel like there's almost like phantom swords. Like it's like there's these phantom energies of like who's real, who's not, who can I trust, who can I not, who can and on it continues and on it continues. When you're watching those like are they a narcissist? And then you're watching the video going, no, according to this psychiatrist, this person that I'm dealing with definitely is not a narcissist, but I'm probably behaving like one because I'm so wounded, always running away, right? Unable to communicate. And yet, working through these things, we can start to learn how to communicate with one another more consciously. I.e., it's taken this person also a similar amount of time to realize I'm not projecting my shitty emotions onto them. And the reason I'm running away is because I'm trying to deal with my emotions and then try to find a common ground with this person and be like, what is this? Why are you on my noggin? You want to have a hug? Let's have a hug. Um, so Jess, let's get back. So I've just pulled this card, success. You're riding into a phase of success. Again, I'm looking down going, it's not like tomorrow we're probably going to manifest like the love of our lives, but the love, like I said, there could be an aspect of just stepping out onto the dating scene. And then eventually this goes along with this card as well. Eventually you're feeling lucky, you're feeling good as yourself, you're feeling successful. That's a really, 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 really good place to be, right? And then just know you're manifesting. Eventually somebody will come along. There's no doubt in my mind. Yeah, 6 of Cups. You're creating it, but it's still a little bit under the ground. I was say under the sea. Under the sea. Darling, it's better down where it's wetter. Take it from me. Up on the shore, they play all day. Out in the sun, they live away. Oh my God. Darling, it's better. Don't take a sweater. I don't. Oh, shit. Yeah, so take flight. Basically, it's almost saying as well, I'm going back. I know I'm jesting loads, but this is still Jess's ask reading. Basically, the more you focus on your good feels and feel really good in who you are, and yeah, go for a date, go for 2, go for 3, who cares? Eventually, you're going to feel more and more successful, and eventually, you're going to kind of own what you're creating and take flight. And I dare say you'll likely meet a type of romantic partner that you're desiring, i.e., more match vibratory, more somebody who's actually like more your match, I feel like you're gonna meet them on a next level. So you're working on yourself essentially, and you're still working on yourself. And it's like that Scott reading around, like, oh my God, do we still have more healing to do? Fuck. Like it was just yesterday morning, lovers. Just yesterday morning, somebody triggered me to say, and I did this thing of like, I just got up and was like, I'm out, I'm going. Like, I just didn't want to fucking face anything. And they were just like, okay. And instead of getting my car and leaving, like I did many, many months ago to never hang out with them and be like, leave me alone, I didn't leave. I instead took a breath, was like, this isn't good for me or for them. They're gonna feel like shit. I'm gonna feel like shit. So basically, it just required me, see, I have the emotion of like, I just had to just cry. And then they just gave me a hug and explained part of what triggered me and how I'm so used to just processing it on my own. And then they just gave me a hug, and we're like, it's okay. You're all of you is welcome here. And so you're like, okay. So there's a lot of love, Jess. There's a lot of love. There's a lot of creative success. This also feels to me manifesting, but they're manifesting a reflection, or even the fact that they're trees, like manifesting community, right, via your sense of loving connection and your sense of creative success, right? Just for whatever reason, like the cup energy, as far as like manifesting love cup in the form of other people, that just isn't right here right now, other than like what I said about like there could be some dates. And I think it's like it's almost saying like go for a date, have some fun, go da da, because you're manifesting this at the other. And yet still it's about your wholeness, and you're feeling ever so lucky and feeling actually really, really proud of how far you've come. And thing is that I think we can be lucky in as far as it's the 10 of swords, it's the end and it's over and it's reversed, which means it's like this is like truly, truly healed. It's almost like signing the contract to claim it and then putting the contract away. There's only it's like there's just a few little wrap up things to do. And then you can go move forward feeling really good about the person you are, knowing that you deserve the love, and yeah, maybe going on a few dates, maybe opening up to that. There's another layer I'm getting of like if there is somebody as well. So if there is someone that you're manifesting, they're here. Like they're in your vortex. It might be that it's just not that obvious. What is this? If I may offer an unsolicited suggestion, please do. Love it. I think that's what I need to do more of, actually. um, actually, and I'm sort of in the motion of booking a private rock climbing session, so that's like a date. I like that too. Thank you, Scott. I think that's a really nice thing just for all of us. Like treat ourselves how we want to be treated, you know? And that way, if we want to take out somebody on a date, be like, well, you know what I did? I took myself on this and I had a little good time. Want to come with? Fancy a date? Do you want to join me on my own personal date? Right. Super cash, light. We can stay light about it. I'm also getting just this is like a spiritual insight, or just like just a personal piece around just slow, go slow. Like when it comes to these relationships, and that's part of our ability, right? With all the inner work, is that there's no reason to rush. I would dare say most of us, it's not anything like it's not like lust and temptation or pulling us off the track. You're in your heart, it's your heart, and the connections are what they are, and you don't need to be led down or led astray just to fulfill someone else's desire or to like fulfill some lustful thing. um oh gosh, you know what I'm thinking as well, it's like innocence. You know, you guys, we're coming, it's like we're coming back to innocence. So even like dating and playtime and it's just innocence, right? And there are people, I think, when we feel certain things, going really, really slow is just healthy. And that's something that's the game changer for me in this dynamic, is that there's no rush to define anything, to project anything into the future. It's just literally getting to know someone's essence, life, habits, patterns, and all of that. Hala, 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 hala. Heath, my lover, what's your phone number, boy? Man, mountain man. I'm trying to compile. I have December 14th. Yay, time is an illusion. Yes, but I still want your birthday. Give it to me. Because your birthday's coming up, isn't it? December 14th, 15th, 16th, right? You can message me on the WhatsApp as well. I could just ask you on the WhatsApp. Oh, Scotty poo. I would dare say though, Scott, like you're so on it. Like even the fact I knew it. Yes. So Heath, I was correct. Heath is on the 14th. December 14th. Heath. Hala hala. And then I'm pretty sure Rochelle's December 16th. But I want to double check on that. So um the fact that you're aware of the lust temptation, I'm like, that is there again, it's like when we're working with compulsions, addictions, vices, whatever they might be. uh I'm so duper aware that, like, can we just love and accept ourselves fully and completely instead of trying to be, like, trying to be good, trying to be this, trying to be that, rather than being who we are in a complete transparent sentience, and then honoring where our soul body is, because we wouldn't be doing anything if we didn't think it was somehow useful or wasn't part of our soul's outpouring, right? Lots to noodle on there for sure. Lots, lots, lots. So, you guys, thanks for your questions. And I think this is how it's going to be. I'll just be doing about tarot for the crew. Like, I might intuitively go live and do tarot, but I do just because I'm like that. I just want to finish the December. Feels clean to me to finish the tarot on a yearly like shebang. We just did it for over 2 years. Those all those readings for people to enjoy, but we're bringing back the live share, just sharing what's on my mind and my heart and all that. This is it, exactly, it's not desire is the crux. Exactly, it's not bad at all. It's what I guess, like, it's the difference of heartfelt desire versus, like, lustful. Basically, when I say lustful, I'm talking about desires that make our heart feel bad. So to me, lust isn't a bad thing, but if it's disconnected from the heart, lust can make us cheat on people. Lust can make us do things with other people that would hurt ourselves and other people, right? Like, some of the energy of desire, if it's coming from a lower bass tone, isn't it really isn't good for us. Versus like my figuring out what my heart's desire really is and letting myself be open to that desire, because there again, this is where like discernment comes in. Discernment is like our ability to discern, do I just want it because my ego wants it for something, like, I honestly, I can barely even say these words because I'm like, you guys realize how this crew, we're just not egotistical. And if anything, we need to work on the flip of letting ourselves have an ego and letting ourselves want what we want, because truth be told, most of us here want what is good for everybody, because we're empathic, because we feel the pain of the fucking world. And most of us have spent most of our lives knowing, if we just serve, if we just try, if we just work, if we just serve, if we just work, if we just They don't be a good person, right? So no, you just work, you just become more of a slave, right? And well, I'm there's a lot to unpack in that regard. Elf, honey bunches, we got you. I'm trying to think here. Hold on. Elf, elf, elf. Yeah, elf is December 13th. Heath is December 14th. Rochelle is the 16th. Lots of December. And then we also have Maz. Roots. Roots is December 30th as well. Our self-doubt. It's here's something. This is just a noodle, right? You're saying our self-doubt. Another way to look at it, what if it was others' self-doubt? In just different times in our life. Maybe it was stuff that got projected onto us that we took on. Same, different, same. It's us, it's ours. Um, Little expressions in EFT as well about like, oh, what were they called? Did I write it down? I wish I had. I wish I had. I don't think I did though, because they were like dying it. There was something in the EFT about like, ooh, shit, I can't remember the word or the expression, but it was along the lines essentially of like, if it's a complete open pathway, you can just reprogram it and have it be effective. But most people have like reversal beliefs. So like you can put a positive, it's no different than like toxic positivity. You could do EFT, but if you still have a doubt that trumps the positive decada, then that will, it's like if you have one polarity of a I'm pretty sure this is the science, but if there's one positive and one negative, it goes to the negative. Is that correct? So hence, we need to be generating more positive cells to balance the energy of the negative. Hala, hala, hala. I just looked up at 147. Is that not 111? Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. Ooh, Qigong. Another amazing thing. Also, in case another amazing text, I'm getting into the I Ching. Um, it's so profound. I don't even like do the actual like coins or whatever you're meant to thing, but like I'll just open it at a bit, and so often, like I'm talking 99.9% of the time that I open this book and read what information it has to share with me, I start crying because it's just so profound. Look, there is an eclipse. I'm reading it. I just opened. Oh, holy shit! You cannot make this up. Guess what number I've opened it to? 55. And then it's called abundance, Feng, abundance, fullness. There is an eclipse. Clinging to the power of inner truth will cause it to pass. It's like that in meditation. Like when you hit amazing vibratory in meditation, but then there's like this part of your mind that's like, this is it. This is the meditation. And then it's gone. You're like, fuck, I'm back in my head again. I'm not in the infinite void. So thunder and lightning symbolize a brief period in which we are able to have an influence over others or on others. When this influence wanes, we must withdraw without delay and no longer focus interest on the situation. Times of abundance refers to times when people are receptive to us. It is said that the sage is never sad because he knows that to hold to the power of inner truth is to overcome all darkening trends. I actually feel like this is super relevant for us. I just want to read this again. So, times of abundance refers to times when people are receptive to us. I feel like this is something for all of us, obviously. It is said that the sage is never sad because he knows that to hold to the power of inner truth is to overcome all darkening trends. It's almost like it is just what it is, and that then you let it go or something. As our teacher, the sage also knows that only slow progress endures. It's like we talk about there's no quick fix to this stuff. That slow progress endures, therefore he does not rush our progress because he knows that all learning must be committed to experience. He retreats when the moment of influence wanes, giving us the space we need to find ourselves. The sage trusts the power of truth to prove itself, being free of doubt. Being free of doubt, he is also free of sorrow and care. Thus, he continuously produces times of abundance. I'm going to probably take a photo of this and then I'll email everybody a copy of that lesson for the day. Hala hala, mega heart love you guys. I'm going to shoot skis because my bladder's about to burst. I'm going to take it to the toilet. Have an awesome day, you guys. Be in touch should you need anything, or feel free to share topics that we want to share, talk about, all that jazz. Thank you for being here. Happy birthday to Jessica. Looking forward to celebrating with all y'all real soon. Mega heart love. You're a sage. I would say in this context of the I Ching, we're all sages. Hala Shazam.